Email me at ancientegyptian@msn.com. ancientegyptian@msn.com. If you email me, put your phone number there, and I'll get back to you.
Okay. Victor, I'm Roscoe. I'll give you a copy of that book.
No, I bought the copy of the book.
You bought a copy?
In fact, I didn't buy it. One of my students who live in Connecticut told me about the book, and he sent me a copy of it.
Okay.
Which, I'm not mad at the brothers, but just, if you're going to do that, tell me how one can decipher pictorial symbols drawn by our ancestors, the ancient Egyptians, called the hieroglyphics. Show me how it's done.
Ask the streets.
Ask the streets. Ask the streets.
I like that one.
Shadows got away. You took away.
This Chicago, nigga.
Chicago. Hey, Blue, what's happening, man? But I see you. Brown, what up? Streets is talking. Yeah. They say, Fox, is something missing in you. Since we done been apart, I needed you needed me. That left a bleeding heart. A broken bond, another gone when with his killing stop. I watch the news and all I see is niggas getting shot. Closing down these schools lately. Niggas act like fools lately. Run up on the block, shoot your mama. Ain't no rules lately. OG's doing hella time. Shorties never fell in line. They just trying to stay alive, and all they see is dollar signs. Murder, murder, beat the trap. Bless, I'm walking down this aisle. Ain't a nigga safe out here. Them hitters reaching out the dial. Ringing shots, they falling down. Blindly shot up in the crowd. Closed his eyes and drove away. Homie told him he was proud. Trying to get up out these streets. Lot of niggas coming back. I guess it could be worse for us. A lot of us ain't coming back. Rest in peace, my nigga Rip. Free my nigga Little Rip. Seen a nigga cop his first ball and now he moving bricks. Whip it up and whipping whips. Used to cut it, now it's fish. Squad got that drop now. Niggas asking whose is this? Every day a dollar day. Used to say a holiday. Until I seen my nigga murked, I knew this game was not for play. Stay up on your grind, most important, stay up out the way. Focus on your next move, have patience, life is not a race. Sinners turn to saints, and killers turn to mice. Got back up in the corner, brought them killers back to life. I seen hypes leave that pipe alone. Niggas leave their wife at home. Thought that bitch was Lord, she was poor, could leave that pipe alone.
I'm in the underground bookstore with Mr. Walter Williams, and he's gonna explain how the metadata has not been deciphered. And that's what's going on right now. How y'all doing today? How you doing today, Mr. Walter Williams?
Fine, my brother. How are you today?
I'm all right.
That's good. And I heard you introduce the subject that we're going to be talking about, which is the Mdw Hieroglyphics.
The hieroglyphics. Okay.
Why the Mdw Hieroglyphics have never been deciphered and will never be deciphered.
Okay.
The reason why I'm saying that is that I wrote in my book, The Historical Origin of Christianity, on page 146. The book has been out in the world market today for 24 going on 25 years. And in that book, The Historical Origin of Christianity, I wrote, on page 146, I have a chapter called the appendix. In that appendix, I'm saying that why the Mdw Hieroglyphics has never been deciphered. The reason I'm saying that is that
I was in my 30s.
the first reason is this.
I was in my 30s.
In order to have the knowledge of the hieroglyphics being deciphered, one would have to ask the ancient Egyptians who drew those symbols what he or she meant for them to be during the time of antiquity. And they were not around. So therefore, it's something that is impossible to be deciphered or understood. Number two, in my book also I drew a symbol that I created, of my own creation, and I asked the reader, can you tell me the meaning of this symbol that I drew? And the answer would be no, because in order for you to know the meaning of that symbol, you would have to ask me the meaning of the symbol, because I drew the symbol. if I don't provide you the answer by way of giving you, explaining you the meaning of this particular symbol that I have drawn, then you will never ever know the meaning of it. You see?
Right.
Number 3, there in my book, in this chapter I'm talking about, I present the symbol of the question mark. The symbol of a question mark is a symbol that is understood by people today of the world. When they see that symbol is telling an individual to question, to ask questions, because that symbol of the question mark is telling one to do that. But you cannot put an alphabetical value to the question mark as a symbol. You can't put and say this symbol of a question mark means an R, a T, P, M, Q, or whatever case might be. You can't do that because it's a symbol of a question mark, or any symbol has to be explained if you know the meaning of the symbol. The 4th thing, when an individual go and take a driver's test to get their driver's license, they are tested in 3 things: rules of the road, eyesight, and symbols. When you get to the symbols part, they put up symbols for you to explain the meaning of those symbols. They don't ask you what alphabet or alphabetical value that this symbol represents. They don't tell you that. They ask you to explain the meaning of it. So therefore, if you cannot explain the meaning of the symbols, then you fail the test. You see? So that's a few things. And then Champollion, they said in 1822, supposed to have deciphered 7 to 9 glyphs. 7 glyphs was in a cartouche. That the 7 glyphs in this cartouche supposed to represent Ptolemy, the Greek ruler of ancient Egypt, during the reign of the Ptolemies. And then in another cartouche had 9 supposed glyphs, signs in it, which supposed to represent Cleopatra. Okay? So what I'm saying is that this is his guesstimation. Okay? And they said that, well, he used the Coptic language to do that and so forth. You cannot use any language to decipher and understand a symbol. You can use a language, no matter what language you speak, to explain a symbol, but you cannot use a language to decipher a symbol. It's impossible. But this is in 1822 with Champollion. Now, 44 years later, they came up with a saying that they found a bilingual stone called the stone of Canopus. Okay, this is found over in Egypt, in Canopus, Egypt, 44 years later. But prior to, from the time of Alexander coming out with this 7 to 9 supposed decipherment of the glyphs, his peers and Western academia refused to recognize what he found and claimed that he had deciphered. Okay, so they didn't recognize his scholarship. They denied him ever deciphering the hieroglyphics until 44 years later they found another bilingual stone called the stone of Canopus. Now, he is supposed to have taken, Champollion is supposed to have taken those supposed cartouche that he claimed that he deciphered from the Rosetta Stone. Okay? As you know, the Rosetta Stone was supposed to have been found in 1799 by Napoleon and his group, and his armed group that went over in Egypt. Okay? So 44 years later, after Champollion came out in 1822 and said he deciphered this, his peers again refused to recognize or give him credit for deciphering anything. They say he didn't decipher it. So then they find this stone, this bilingual stone called the stone of Canopus, which I questioned in the book at the time about the stone of Canopus. And I asked the question, what in the stone of Canopus made Western academia all of a sudden, after 44 years of denying Champollion the deciphering of the hieroglyphics. What in this stone of Canopus that they found to authenticate Champollion, so-called discovering and deciphering those 7 to 9 glyphs. Okay, I can't get an answer. But anyway, if an individual get my book, Historical Origin of Christianity, which is, you can, I'm at the Underground Bookstore right here in Chicago, Illinois. The address is 1727 East 87th Street. Phone number here is 773-968-8869. And you can buy my book here. Now, I'm not trying to sell you a book. If you want to buy it, you can buy it. If you don't, you don't. But anyway, you can find the information, what I'm talking about, on page 146 in my book, The Historical Origin of Christianity. So, further to make an individual, or to give an individual the understanding about what I'm saying, and what I'm saying is that the hieroglyphics has never been deciphered, never will be deciphered. You go and get a American Heritage Dictionary of the English language, and you look up in that dictionary hieroglyphs or hieroglyphics, and that dictionary will say, as you read it, the definition of the hieroglyphs as they explain it. This is unlegible and undecipherable. In other words, they're telling you that the hieroglyphic symbols cannot be deciphered. So this is what I'm saying as to why the Mdw Ntr Hieroglyphics has never been deciphered, never will be deciphered. You have to ask the ancient Egyptians who drew those symbols what he or she meant for them to be during the time of antiquity. Antiquity means ancient times, and they are not around for us to ask that question. So you cannot have a consensus. You cannot speculate. You cannot determine. You cannot analyze. You cannot bring up any reasons that you conjure in your mind, or any reason why a group of men or women will have a consensus as to how and why the hieroglyphics has been deciphered. You can't do that, okay? Even though there's a group out there today, they wrote a 216-page book repudiating what I'm saying. And my name is right on the front cover, Walter Williams. But in the 216-page writing in this book, repudiating what I'm saying as to why the Mdw Ntr Hieroglyphics has never been deciphered, they said it has been deciphered, okay? But in that book of 216 pages, there's not one sentence, a paragraph, that they have wrote in that book to show the world and show me how the hieroglyphics has been deciphered and who deciphered them. So I asked an individual, you said that the hieroglyphics have been deciphered. I asked you, based on what? And they can't do that. And I mean that there are supposed to be 400, some say 700, some say 600, some say 1,000, some say 1,500, some say 2,000 hieroglyphics, symbols drawn by our ancestors are out there. So I asked an individual, bring me any amount of pictorial symbols known as the hieroglyphics, and tell me and explain to me the meaning of each and every one of those symbols. Okay, that's all I asked, and I think that's fair enough. So that's what I have to say about that.
That's not going to be done, though. I don't think they're going to be able to do that.
No, they can't do that, and I know that. So another thing I'm going to bring out, since we're talking about the hieroglyphics. They asked me, so well, I use the term Mayat Hotep. Mayat is female, love. Hotep is peace, male. Okay? So the female cosmically balances the male cosmically balances the female. So there's balance there. See? So they say, well, if the hieroglyphics has never been deciphered, where do you get the word Hotep and Mayat? or Pharaoh, any type of word. I explained to them, Mayat is a word, Hotep is a word, or any word is a word. That's all. But it has nothing to do with the hieroglyphics. Because Mayat, Hotep, or Mayat is a word, Hotep is a word.
And the Mdw is the hieroglyphics.
It's a hieroglyphic. Okay, Mdw hieroglyphics. Sacred, supposed to be sacred writings. Sacred, not writings, but drawings.
So Mr. Williams, why would these people just make the claim and say that they deciphered it and they hadn't actually done it? What's the goal? What's the underlying goal behind that?
Well, I see. I was going after Western academia. Western academia, in order for them to have control of our ancestors' history, the ancient Egyptians, and their culture, they had to institutionalize it.
Gotcha.
So therefore, this is part of them institutionalizing our ancestors' culture and civilization, so they can say that they're Egyptologists. There's no such thing as an Egyptologist. If you're an Egyptologist, tell me and speak the language that our ancestors spoke over in Egypt during the time of antiquity, ancient time. Speak that language if you're an Egyptologist. Tell me how the Great Pyramid was built. That's another mystery that will never be solved. How did our ancestors, ancient Egyptians, build the Great Pyramid? Okay? Can't solve that. We'll never know that answer. Okay? So I was going after Western academia to tell Western academia, you have not deciphered the hieroglyphics, because Western academia wants to put an alphabet or alphabetical value to symbols, and you can't do that. So I was going after them. But then the brothers and the sisters out here went into Western academia, believe what Western academia is saying about the hieroglyphics being deciphered.
Well, they upholding that as law.
Hold on, repeat that again.
They upholding this Western academia as law. They saying this is what it is.
This is what I'm saying.
I'm not saying I know, but I'm saying that's what they saying. They saying this is absolute because Western academia said so.
Correct. But I'm saying that I'm calling Western academia out. Say, no, you have not deciphered the hieroglyphic, and you know that. Because I went over to the University of Chicago, and I talked to Peter Piccioni over there, who was teaching the hieroglyphic class. He was a professor over there. And I pressed him, and he told me, he said, well, you're right. The hieroglyphics has never been deciphered, but I have to teach this class. Okay? I talked to Frank Yorko over there, who's another scholar over the University of Chicago, who set up the exhibit Inside Egypt at the Field Museum. He was teaching a hieroglyphics class. And I pressed him, and he had to admit, no, it's never been deciphered. You see? So what I'm saying to you, there's a lot of things out there that needs to be challenged, and that's one of them. So I have went into Western academia and challenged them to why the Mdw Ntr Hieroglyphics has never been deciphered. But the brothers and sisters out there, they took what Western academia said and said, well, they're on the side of Western academia against Walter Williams, which is okay. But again, if you want to use Western academia's reasons or use your own reasons, now mind you, now these brothers are very, very good researchers. I read the book that they wrote against me with my name on the front cover.
Who are these guys?
They call themselves the Amun-Ra Squad.
The Amun-Ra Squad.
Right, which is fine. These guys are very good researchers.
Okay.
Okay. But they have not demonstrated or wrote in the book that they wrote repudiation against what I'm saying about hieroglyphs never been deciphered. They have never wrote in that book how a symbol called the hieroglyphics have been deciphered. They haven't said that, haven't done that, haven't did anything. They did use a lot of technicality.
There's a lot of technicality, and you know what? In the conversation, like you said, they can decipher the name Seti or the name Pharaoh or whatever name that you get, right? But they don't decide. They're not able to decipher the symbols, and that's. I think this is being confused in the argument, and they mixing up the actual language or words with the Mdw Ntr, and so I think that's the issue. I'm not sure, but I think that's the issue. It seems like they're not being clear, absolutely clear with what's going on. You got some people using the word translated, and then the verse is deciphered, and it's just a bunch of confusion going on.
Yeah, transliteration and all that kind of. Those are nice big words.
Yeah.
Technical words. The average person the average Joe Blow, he probably wouldn't know what you're talking about, which is okay. So I asked any individual. The bottom line is this: if you say that the hieroglyphics have been deciphered, I asked based on what?
Based on what? That's it. That's it right there. Well, something else came up not too long ago about King Tut, and they said that it was a study saying that his DNA is more common to Western men. Basically, I'm thinking they was trying to imply European. His DNA was more European than sub-Saharan African.
Okay, fine.
Is that, you think that's accurate?
No. I'm gonna tell you why. If you bring your camera up and look at my shirt,
Okay.
what does it say? This come from the front cover of Life magazine that was put out by Life magazine
Right.
last February. In the February, March, and April magazine of Life magazine that came out last year, 2016.
Okay.
Okay, this is the picture of. It says King Tut, right?
It does.
Zero in on the statue, the face.
Yeah, I was looking at that myself. I was definitely looking at that.
So all you have to do is look at the face of King Tut, and that dispels that argument.
Yeah, that face right there, that looks like a black man right there.
They don't look like it.
That is a black
Hey,
man.
you don't have to say look like. No, I don't have to argue who my ancestors are with nobody. White folks, Africans, us folks, anybody. See? The mirror tells you who you are. Oh, you look in the mirror. The image that's looking back at you in the mirror is telling you that you're descendant of the ancient Egyptian.
Well, you actually got a lot of people who actually argue against that, right? They say that we were taken and kidnapped from West Africa. So how did we get to become ancient Egyptians or something of that nature, which is in East Africa? And so that's one of the discussions that go on also.
Okay, if an individual wants to go and be identified with West Africa, help yourself. That's where they want you to go. The system wants you to go there, to take you away from ancient Egypt. That's the reason why in the school system that you and I and the people who's listening to my voice at this very moment, when they went to school in this country, the school system taught us away from ancient Egypt. Is that true?
I can agree with that.
Okay. They gave me a book when I was 8 years old at Farron School at 51st and Wabash called Little Black Sambo. That was done on purpose to degrade me and my people. They gave the same book, Little Black Sambo, to the white child in that school to make him feel superior and feel good. Okay? So there's a lot of tricks out there, but find your way back to ancient Egypt and claim it. Let me give you an example of what I'm saying and a little story. I opened up my museum at 3849 South Michigan Avenue, March 11, 1990, called the Ancient Egyptian Museum. 3849 South Michigan Avenue, March 11, I opened the doors. I had it for 11 years. Now, in 1996 or 7, I can't remember, those 2 years, the Black Physicians Association of Cook County Hospital asked me to come during Black History Month and give them a lecture. Okay? And they paid me for the lecture, gave me an honorarium and so forth and so on. I went there and I made a suggestion I made a suggestion to the doctors after the lecture was over and they was giving me my honorarium. I said to them, doctors, I said, instead of calling yourself the Black Physicians Association of Cook County Hospital, why don't you call yourself the Imhotep Physicians Association of Cook County Hospital? Then you would be identifying with the deity of medicine, Imhotep. Okay? Because right now, in order for you to get your doctor's degree to be a medical doctor, you got to take a Hippocratic oath of Hippocrates. There's never been a Hippocrates. Okay? That's out. But anyway, he said, one of the doctors asked me, he said, how do you know that we are ancient Egyptian descendants? I said, well, let me give you a little analysis here. I said, now, do you believe that it was the African ancient Egyptians who built the Great Pyramid in Egypt, in Africa? He says, yes. During the time of antiquity. I said, yes. So do you agree that there were a people around known as the Greeks during the time of antiquity? He says, yes. I said, do you also agree that there were Romans around during the time of antiquity who today are calling themselves Italians? He says, yes. I said, let's go back. Today, as I speak, the Greeks are on earth today calling themselves Greeks. Is that right? He says, yes. I said, the Romans are around calling themselves Italians today on earth. He says, I said, you agree today? He says, yes. I said, then where are the descendants of the ancient Egyptians?
That's a good question.
And he looked at me with a blank face. I said, did they disappear?
Yeah.
Did they vanish?
They vanished.
So therefore they got to be somewhere on earth. So that would be my answer too.
That's true. So why would you think, last question, before we gotta get you, I'll let you get out of here. Why do you think the Europeans or anybody would want to usurp the identity of the Egyptian?
The ancient Egyptians, don't say Egyptian.
The ancient Egyptians, I'm sorry.
See, those Arabs over there, those white Arabs over today living in Egypt, they are Egyptian.
Today.
Yeah, but in order to be an ancient Egyptian, you have to be African. And those Africans are the ones that brought civilization to all of humanity. Okay? And you asked me the question, why they want to do what now?
Why would you think anybody would want to usurp the identity of the Egyptians, of ancient Egyptians?
Because what I just said, the credit of bringing civilization to all of humanity is in the knowledge coming from the culture of the ancient Egyptians in Africa. From the culture, that culture now, of the African ancient Egyptian came civilization for all of humanity. And that's what they want to hide. Okay? The Europeans wants to hide that. Now, if we as an African people claim that we as an African people living in the United States of America, we do not have a nationality. Okay? We have, we call ourselves black. That's a color description. You call yourself a Negro. Negro and black is synonymous. A name given to us by the Spanish. We call ourselves African Americans. That's a description. Last year they put up a museum in Washington, D.C. The Smithsonian put up this museum in Washington, D.C. called the African American Museum of History and Culture. Misleading. That's telling the world and telling us that our history started with slavery in this country. No, we didn't. Our history goes back to ancient Egypt. That's where we were cut off. That's where we have to claim that. And once we claim our identity and our ancestors being the African ancient Egyptians, white supremacy is over with. It's over with. And they know that. Okay? So therefore, they keep us away from that in the school system.
Bible too.
And well, the Bible needs to be thrown in the garbage can, like I always say in my lectures. It's worthless. Okay? It's worthless. Okay? So therefore,
Don't tell my mama that.
well, there it is. Throw it away. Get it out of your life. In order for us to be free as an African people, we're going to have to divest ourselves from all religions. Every last one of them. Christianity, because Christianity is more detrimental to us than any other religion. Why? Because the icon, the image, and the symbol of white supremacy is institutionalized in every Christian church throughout America and throughout the world. That dead white man on the cross that you call your God and your Savior is a symbol of white supremacy. That's a symbol.
That's a symbol.
Okay? Now, the question I ask Christians, do you think that the white race will take their children and family into a church where a big black African Jesus is hanging on the cross and teach their children and family that this big black African Jesus is their God and Savior?
That probably what happened, right? Because the Africans was the God of the
Wait
planet.
now, just a moment. I ask you a question though.
No, they wouldn't do that.
They wouldn't do that, would they?
I don't think so.
Then why in the hell are we, as a race of people, running to these damn churches, worshiping this dead white man on the cross and saying that this is our God and Savior? You're out of your mind. Okay? The next question. Christians of African descent. What is the name of your African God that looks like you? Because that dead white man on that cross don't look like you. Okay? So we have to divest ourselves from all religion in order for us to be free. We have to stop revolving and begin to evolve, grow. So that's what some of the things I have to say. I mean, I can go on and on and on, but this is a short interview. So those are the things the questions that you asked me, I tried to answer.
I appreciate you, Mr. Williams. Anything else you want to tell the people before we get out of here?
Well,
if you have questions that you would like to ask the streets, contact us at askthestreetsmedia@gmail.com. Don't forget to subscribe. Hope you liked the video. Thanks for watching.